Okay, good morning. We'll go ahead and get started here. So thank you guys for being here. I'll just briefly introduce everyone, and then Mr. Murphy will take the podium. Robert Murphy, Special Agent in charge of the DEA Atlanta Division. This is Major Mike Lindstrom, Sandy Springs Police Department. Chief Chuck Atkinson from Doraville Police Department. Deputy Chief Austin Godfrey from Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office. And Captain Cherie West from the Clayton County PD. Mr. Murphy.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. DEA is here to announce, as you can see, a significant seizure of methamphetamine happened yesterday in Norcross, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Thanks to the assistance of our partners, Sandy Springs, Gwinnett County, SO, Clayton County PD, and Doraville PD. DEA received information that led us to a storage unit in Norcross, Georgia, and Gwinnett County. With the assistance of the Sandy Springs canine dog, we were able to identify the exact unit, and we seized 388 kilos of finished crystal ice methamphetamine. As you can see, this is it's all labeled by the individuals that it's destined for and the package weight. It's a very significant seizure of methamphetamine. This is was seized from the Cartel Jalisco New Generation, and it's part of an ongoing, much bigger investigation being conducted by the DEA task force with our partners represented here today. So with that, if any questions, the individual who was arrested here illegally in the country, Franklin Pineda Orasquieta, he was the only individual arrested at the time. With that, I'll take questions.
Is the suspect in federal custody?
He's in state custody right now. He's in Gwinnett County, and I guess I should thank Gwinnett County prosecutor's offices as well. So currently he's in custody in Gwinnett County.
There's only one arrest?
One individual right now.
With all of this?
Yes.
Is this an operation that has been ended now?
No, it's not. It's not. As you can see, this represents a pretty big organization operating in here. This is a significant amount of drugs that we had to make sure we took off. We can't allow this poison to make it to the street in this quantities and this amount. That's why at this point we've only made one arrest.
How does this compare to other seizures that you might get on a typical week?
Unfortunately, it's becoming very routine, this size, this quantity. I think this probably represents, in the last, I'd just say this year alone, it's probably our fourth or fifth of this size.
Does that mean that the trade is getting worse here?
No, it's remaining consistent. I think, as I've said numerous times, Atlanta is a strategic spot for the Mexican cartels and operating. Again, when it comes to the cartel activity, Atlanta has the two major cartels that are operating in this area, Sinaloa and CJ&G, Cartel Jalisco New Generation and the Sinaloa Cartel. They control operations here. This is a major hub for obvious reasons, for the means of transportation, the community to blend in, the amount of money, and just the strategic location to the Mexican border, away from law enforcement. There's a lot less. The farther you get away from the Mexican border, the less law enforcement. So it makes it very amenable to them to set up operations here. And we've known that for a while. We have a handle. We continue with our partners to attack them at every chance. But there is no shortage of drugs coming across our U.S. border right now.
So even as huge as this seizure is, there's still, this is not, are people going to notice that this is gone?
Oh yeah, there's going to be some upset people. I mean, we just took a significant amount, but is it going to curtail it? No, we're going to have to keep going. This represents a finished product that was moved into a storage unit. So this indicates to us there's a processing lab in the area, at least one, if not more, in the area, and that's going to be our focus. This was the finished product being stored in, waiting to be distributed. But there's obviously a bigger lab here in the Atlanta area.
And how much is it worth?
It's going about $4,000 a kilo on the street right now, at wholesale level.
Times 380.
Yeah, times 400, so 160 grand.
Talk about meth in general in terms of the frequency, how often the last year or so and the last few months we're seeing similar thoughts.
Meth is drug of choice, especially in this region. It's dirt cheap, as you can see. I mean, when I was working the streets and it was going for significantly higher, around 16,000, 18,000, 20,000 a kilo. We're down to 4,000 a kilo. It's very cheap. It's synthetic. You don't have to worry about growing it. You don't have to worry about crops. The Mexican cartels love it because they can control every point of it. They don't have to share it with the Colombians or anybody else. They control distribution. They control the money laundering side. They control production, the wholesaling. So it's way more profitable for the cartels. And quite frankly, people like it. It's cheap and the high lasts a long time.
Can you speak to anything else that led you to the unit? Was it a good old-fashioned tip? Was it just good old police work? Anything to the public you want to say?
All of those involved. It started out with information, general information that based on the work from the men and women on the task force, they were able to zero in and figure out exactly where it was.
So what we're looking at now, this was how it was found in the storage unit?
Exactly how it was found in the storage unit, yes. I think that and an overwhelming smell when our men and women opened the door, it kind of blew them back.
Can you tell us a little bit about where it was found? What can you tell us about
It was a storage unit, Norcross, Georgia. I can get you the exact address. I don't have it with me right now, but I can get it to you. Again, just a regular storage, everyday storage unit in Norcross, Georgia. I'll get you the name of the address here.
Does the, I don't know if I can ask this question. Is it, what are the odds that?
You can ask it. I just don't know if I can.
What are the odds that the tip, I guess I'm just curious about the fact that there's this huge seizure and one arrest. Could the tip have come from like a competitor to that cartel?
I didn't use the word tip. You used the word tip. So I haven't characterized that as a tip.
Ah, okay, my bad. So not a tip.
I haven't, I just said we received information.
Okay.
So I purposely have not characterized it.
Wow. Got it. Okay, good stuff.
Does this speak to sometimes how large amounts of drugs can be hidden in places people drive by all the time?
Listen, if I think if every agent in the room right now had $1 for every time someone said, "Oh, that's such a great family to living in a drugstore stash house," or like you said, living in a community and they had no idea, there'd be a lot of rich people here. We could retire much earlier. But yes, this is exactly what they look for. The cartels want to blend into the community. They're worried about two things. They're worried about police activity, obviously. They're worried about us seizing their product, but they're also worried about the criminal element themselves. They don't want to attract other criminals that are going to see this as a great opportunity to steal money and or product. So they try to blend in and be great neighbors. And again, anywhere you could possibly think to store stuff, they do it. And just the smuggling techniques that we see alone when getting this stuff across the border shows unbelievable ingenuity.
What kind of message does this send to the cartel?
Oh, they're not happy right now. This is a significant seizure. So again, we continually hit these cartels. We are not complacent at all. I know I speak for everyone on this involved in the task force and everybody that comes to work every day in law enforcement in the metro area. We are not content with this. It's not acceptable in our community. We're going to continue to hit them. They're going to keep coming, and we're going to keep attacking them. That's the guarantee we're going to do. These are long-term investigations. I think this was a very significant seizure, worthy, I think, of showing you. But again, I can assure you that there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and we're going to take out the entire people that we can represented here in the Metro Atlanta that are responsible for this.
Can you maybe, or someone can speak to just the secondary impact? Obviously, it's unlawful, but it also means maybe more lives are being saved and less people are using it along.
Well, there's definitely, and I'll let these guys, because they deal with more of the immediate aftermath. They deal with the calls for overdoses and all that kind of stuff. So I'll turn it over to anyone who'd like to speak. But obviously, we're saving lives here, and the destruction I've seen in my entire career. The destruction it causes in families, the total, just a breakdown of our schools, our communities, everything. The level of destruction and chaos drug use causes in our communities, we've been seeing it for generations. It destroys generations, destroys families. But anyone here want to add anything? You guys deal with it on a regular basis. Major?
I'll just
why don't
add.
you come to the mic?
Just to add to what Mr. Murphy already said, It'd be foolish for the residents, the police department in Sandy Springs, our city council, our mayor, to believe that we're alone in our problem in Sandy Springs. Looking at this success that we had in this investigation is exactly why we dedicate someone to this task force. Because it expands across the metro Atlanta area, and so when that happens, we have to have something that we can utilize to address that.
Can you spell your name and your title?
Major Mike Lindstrom, Lindstrom. I'm with the Sandy Springs Police Department.
Is there a name for the task force that you all are with?
Yeah, it's just a DEA task force. Anyone else? And he'd like to remain a major, so don't be nice. But no, I think he said it incredibly well. Number one, he talks about, local departments don't have the resources. Well, we don't have the resources without our local department's assistance. We bring in a certain level of expertise, but what we don't bring, our men and women come from all over the world, and they get assigned here when they start out their careers. We don't have the day-to-day knowledge of the streets and who's who, and that is the benefit of these task forces. They come in, they add value to it. We try to send back a better product to the department later on, and as we've seen through the years, they project and they end up being leadership in the department. So it helps us both out. We cannot fight this. We're fighting, obviously, organizations that have way more resources to us. They're better capitalized. They have no consideration for the law. They don't care. We have to abide by the law, and we have to we have to play by the rules. So in order to fight organizations like this, it's an all hands on deck, and there's no better demonstration than the task forces that we represent. All right. I'll get you that address and the name of the Crystal, if you can get that to him, and then feel free to take photos. And appreciate your time. Thank you, guys.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.